Do you ever feel a subtle, almost imperceptible resistance when you truly allow yourself to imagine complete financial freedom? It's not the lack of desire or the lack of trying. It's a deeper, more hidden whisper, a fear of what that freedom might mean, what it might demand, or even who you might become. What if this fear isn't a sign you're not ready, but the very doorway you need to step through? Welcome, fellow alchemists, to this sacred space of transformation. Today, we delve into a profound meditation designed to help you release the hidden fears that may be unconsciously blocking your path to true financial freedom. As you prepare to immerse yourself in this practice, I invite you to explore more wisdom within our growing library. On your left, you will find the playlist Start Here, The Foundations of Abundance, a perfect place to ground yourself in our core principles. And on your right, I have personally selected our guide, Embrace Financial Freedom, a transformative meditation to release fear, as the perfect next step to deepen your practice. Trust the guidance that calls to you, the 17 alchemical keys to releasing fear and embracing financial freedom. Introduction. The Paradox of Freedom. Welcome, dear traveler, on the path to prosperity. It is a profound honor to guide you through this alchemical process. Today, we address a paradox that many spiritually minded individuals encounter, the subtle yet potent fear that can arise when we genuinely contemplate and then begin to embody true financial freedom. You've likely heard the teachings. You've probably read the books, perhaps even recited affirmations about attracting wealth. You understand, at a fundamental level, the principles of abundance mindset and the law of attraction for money. Yet there's a snag, isn't there? A quiet hum of unease that surfaces when you picture a life of true financial independence. It's as if a part of you is saying, yes, I want this, but what if? What if freedom means more responsibility than you're ready for? What if it means change that feels destabilizing? What if it means judgment from those who don't understand your journey? Or perhaps a deep-seated fear that having money will somehow diminish your spiritual purity, making you materialistic. These are not flaws in your desire for wealth. They are echoes of old programming, subconscious beliefs that have woven themselves into the very fabric of your being. And today, we are going to alchemize them. We are going to transform that fear, not by ignoring it, but by understanding its roots and gently, lovingly releasing its hold. This audiobook is not about quick fixes or superficial mindset shifts. It's about a deep inner transformation, an alchemical process that turns the lead of your fears into the gold of unshakable financial freedom and confidence. My intention for you is not just to attract money, but to become a vessel of abundance, naturally and effortlessly. So, settle in, take a deep, cleansing breath. Allow yourself to be present. The journey to financial freedom begins with acknowledging where you are right now, and then choosing to transform. Chapter 1. The Echoes of Scarcity. Understanding your inheritance. Let's begin by acknowledging the terrain we're navigating. For many of us, our relationship with money has been shaped by more than just our own experiences. It's an inheritance, passed down through generations, woven into the collective consciousness. Think about the stories you heard growing up. Was money discussed openly and with reverence for its potential? Or was it spoken of with scarcity, fear, or as a source of conflict? Perhaps you heard phrases like, money doesn't grow on trees, or it's hard times, or we can't afford that. Even well-intentioned parents trying to teach prudence can inadvertently instill a deep-seated belief that money is scarce, that it must be fought for, or that it's somehow dangerous. This narrative becomes our subconscious blueprint for wealth manifestation. I remember working with a client. Let's call her Anya. Anya was incredibly spiritual, deeply connected to her intuition, and she genuinely wanted to create a life of abundance. She meditated daily, practiced gratitude, and affirmed her desire for wealth. Yet her finances remained stagnant. When we delved into her past, she recalled her grandmother's constant refrain, "Never be too proud to beg if you're hungry." This deeply ingrained message of potential desperation, despite Anya's current security, created an unconscious energetic block. Her subconscious was wired for scarcity, not for sustained prosperity. She feared that true financial independence meant losing her connection to empathy, or worse, becoming vulnerable to destitution. This is the nature of inherited scarcity. It's not a conscious choice. It's an embedded program. It can manifest as a constant feeling of not having enough. Even when objectively successful, there's an underlying anxiety about future scarcity. This is the subconscious mind, money working against you. An intense fear of loss. The idea of losing money can be paralyzing, leading to oversaving or an inability to invest in opportunities. A deep-seated belief that wealth is inherently linked to struggle. You might feel that anything truly valuable must be earned through immense effort and sacrifice, a core tenet of the hustle culture we often try to escape, a conflict between spiritual values and material desires. The subtle guilt that arises when you acknowledge wanting more money, as if it makes you less spiritual. Our first alchemical key, then, is awareness. We must become detectives of our own minds, uncovering these inherited echoes of scarcity. This isn't about blame, it's about illumination. By shining a light on these patterns, we begin to disempower them. We are not defined by our financial inheritance. We are free to create our own wealth manifestation. Take a moment now. Without judgment, simply notice any recurring thoughts or feelings you have about money that seem to stem from a place of limitation or fear. Where do they come from? What stories are they telling? Simply observing is the first powerful step. This is the beginning of healing money blocks. Chapter 2. The illusion of scarcity, when abundance is already present. The next alchemical key involves a radical shift in perspective, recognizing that scarcity is often an illusion. We are conditioned to perceive scarcity, but the universe, in its infinite wisdom, is inherently abundant. The challenge lies in our ability to perceive this abundance, not in its absence. Think about it. We live on a planet teeming with resources. The sun shines freely, air fills our lungs without cost, and the intricate web of life constantly regenerates. While access can be uneven, the underlying principle of the cosmos is one of creative flow and abundance. Our money mindset often fails to grasp this fundamental truth, creating a false narrative of lack. Consider the concept of the abundance frequency. Everything in the universe vibrates at a certain frequency. When our energetic state is aligned with the frequency of abundance, which is one of expansion, gratitude, and receiving, we naturally attract more of it. Conversely, when we operate from a frequency of fear, lack, and limitation, we repel the very prosperity we seek. It's like trying to tune into a radio station that's broadcasting classical music, but your dial is stuck on static. I worked with a couple, Mark and Sarah, who were deeply frustrated by their financial situation. They both had decent jobs, managed their expenses carefully, and yet felt perpetually on the brink. Mark confessed he felt like he was constantly chasing money, always one paycheck away from disaster. Sarah, on the other hand, found herself consumed by worry, constantly scanning for potential financial threats. Their combined energy was a symphony of scarcity. We began a practice of not just affirming wealth, but of actively feeling abundance in their daily lives. It wasn't about pretending they had millions. It was about noticing the small abundances, the taste of a delicious meal, the comfort of their home, the laughter of their children, a beautiful sunset. They were guided to deliberately shift their focus from what was missing to what was present. The shift was gradual but profound. As they consciously began to perceive and appreciate the abundance already around them, their money mindset began to change. Their fear of lack lessened, and their capacity to receive and subsequently attract grew. It's like tuning your internal radio dial. Once you're on the right frequency, the abundance you seek can finally be heard. This key is about perception. It's about actively retraining your mind to see the abundance that is already present, woven into the fabric of your existence. Practice gratitude. Go beyond mere intellectual acknowledgement. Truly feel gratitude for what you have, no matter how small. This elevates your frequency. Notice the small abundances, the free gifts of nature, the kindness of strangers, moments of connection, simple comforts. These are all expressions of universal abundance. Challenge your scarcity thoughts. When a thought of lack arises, gently ask, is this truly the reality, or is it a programmed belief? By shifting your perception from scarcity to the underlying abundance, you begin to dismantle the illusion that holds you back from financial freedom. You start to resonate with a different possibility. Chapter 3. The Fear of Change. Resisting the unfolding. One of the most significant fears that arises when contemplating financial freedom is the fear of change itself. We become accustomed to our current reality, even if it's one of struggle or limitation. The unknown, even when it promises something better, can feel daunting. This is a natural human tendency, but it's a powerful obstacle to wealth manifestation. Imagine you've been living in a small, familiar room your entire life. You know every crack in the wall, every creak in the floorboards. Now you're told you can move into a grand, expansive mansion. Logically, you'd be thrilled. But deep down, there might be a whisper of unease. Will I get lost in all that space? Will I know how to maintain it? Will I be happy there? This is precisely what happens when we approach financial freedom. The familiar territory of our current financial situation, even with its challenges, feels safer than the uncharted territory of true abundance. Your subconscious mind, protective in its own way, may resist this change because it represents the unknown. It's a primal fear of stepping out of the known into the potentially unpredictable. This resistance can manifest in various ways. Procrastination on inspired action. You know what you need to do. Perhaps launch that side project, invest a portion of your savings, or learn a new skill, but you keep putting it off, finding reasons why the timing isn't right. I'll start once X, A, or Z happens. This is the fear of change masquerading as practicality, sabotaging opportunities. Unconsciously, you might make decisions that derail progress, like overspending on something trivial or missing an important meeting. I remember a coaching client, Liam, who was an incredibly talented artist, but struggled to sell his work. He desired financial freedom to pursue his passion full-time. He had numerous opportunities presented to him, gallery showings, commissions, even an offer to collaborate on a book. Yet each time, he'd find a reason to step back. He'd claim he wasn't ready, that his work wasn't good enough, or that he didn't want to sell out. The truth was, he was terrified of the change that success would bring. Success meant a shift from being a struggling artist to a financially independent one. It meant a new identity, new responsibilities, and a different way of living. His fear of this transformation was more powerful than his desire for freedom. The alchemical key here is embrace the transition. Freedom isn't a sudden switch. It's a journey of gradual unfolding. Your subconscious mind is a powerful ally, but it needs reassurance. Acknowledge the fear. Simply naming the fear of change can diffuse its power. I am feeling resistance because this is new and unknown. Focus on the feeling of freedom. Instead of dwelling on the perceived difficulties of change, focus on the feeling of financial freedom, the peace, the joy, the capacity for generosity, the ability to pursue your passions. Take small, aligned steps. Don't try to leap into the mansion overnight. Take one step at a time. If it's investing, start small. If it's a new business venture, begin with a pilot project. Each small success builds confidence and recalibrates your subconscious to accept the new reality. Remember, the universe doesn't punish bravery. It rewards it. By choosing to embrace the transition, You signal to your subconscious that this new terrain of financial abundance is not a threat, but an expansion. Chapter 4. The burden of responsibility. Fear of the weight financial freedom often comes hand in hand with increased responsibility. This can be a source of immense fear for many. The idea of managing larger sums of money, making significant financial decisions, or having the capacity to help others can feel like a heavy burden. What if I make the wrong choices? What if I let people down? What if I can't handle it? These questions can paralyze us, keeping us tethered to our current financial limitations. This fear is understandable. Responsibility implies a certain gravitas, a need for wisdom and discernment. However, we often inflate this burden, seeing it as an insurmountable weight rather than a natural consequence of growth. Consider a child who has always relied on their parents for everything. When they reach adulthood and gain independence, the initial phase might be tinged with anxiety about managing their own lives, their finances, their decisions. But as they gain experience and build confidence, this responsibility becomes empowering. It signifies autonomy, maturity, and the ability to shape their own destiny. The same applies to financial freedom. The responsibility of wealth is not a burden. It's an opportunity. It's the opportunity to make choices aligned with your values. With financial freedom, you have the power to invest in causes you believe in, support loved ones, and create a life that genuinely reflects your highest aspirations. Learn and grow. Managing financial resources is a skill that develops over time. Each decision, even a minor one, offers a lesson. This is where spiritual investing principles become invaluable. Aligning your resources with your soul's purpose. Contribute meaningfully. Financial freedom allows for greater generosity, both in terms of time and resources. It can be a powerful vehicle for positive impact in the world. I recall a conversation with a mentor years ago who had achieved significant financial success. I asked him about the pressure of managing so much. He smiled and said, "Elias, the pressure isn't in the money itself, but in the stories we tell ourselves about it. If you see responsibility as a burden, it will be. If you see it as an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to contribute, it becomes one of the most fulfilling aspects of life." This is our fourth alchemical key. Reframe responsibility as opportunity. Shift your language. Instead of, "I have to manage this money," try, "I have the opportunity to wisely steward these resources." Instead of, "I'm responsible for others," try, "I have the capacity to support and uplift others." Seek knowledge and guidance. If the responsibility feels overwhelming, seek out wise counsel. Educate yourself on financial principles, spiritual finance, and ethical stewardship. This is not a sign of weakness, but of wisdom. Start small and build. If the idea of managing large sums feels daunting, focus on mastering the stewardship of what you have now. Every amount managed wisely builds confidence for larger amounts. By reframing responsibility from a burden to an opportunity, you transform its energetic charge. You move from fear to empowerment, opening yourself to the boundless potential that financial freedom offers. Chapter 5. The fear of judgment, the gaze of others. Another potent fear that can sabotage our pursuit of financial freedom is the fear of judgment. We worry about what others will think of our wealth, our choices, or our success. Will they see us as greedy, materialistic? Will they resent us? Will we be ostracized? This fear is deeply rooted in our human need for belonging and acceptance. The alchemical truth is that we cannot control the perceptions of others. We can only control our own internal state and our integrity. When our pursuit of wealth is aligned with our spiritual values, when it's about growth, contribution, and service, rather than greed or ego, then the external judgment of others loses its power. Think about the alchemists of old. They were often misunderstood, working with esoteric knowledge that others feared or did not comprehend. They faced judgment, suspicion, and ridicule, yet they persisted in their quest, driven by a deeper understanding and purpose. Their inner truth was their shield against external noise. Many individuals I've worked with express this fear. If I become wealthy, my old friends will drift away, or my family will think I've changed for the worse, or people will only see me for my money. These are valid emotional concerns, but they often stem from projecting our own potential insecurities onto others. I recall a woman, Clara, who was about to receive a significant inheritance. She was terrified. Her community valued simplicity and modesty. She worried that her newfound wealth would alienate her friends, who might see her as having forgotten where she came from. She even considered downplaying the amount, or not using it to its full potential to avoid judgment. We worked on the principle of inner alignment over external approval. Clara needed to connect with her own truth. What did she want to do with this resource? How could she use it in a way that felt aligned with her spiritual values of generosity and positive impact? We focused on her personal sense of integrity. As she began to plan how she would use the inheritance to support causes she deeply cared about, her fear of judgment began to wane. She realized that while some people might misunderstand, those who truly mattered would understand and celebrate her aligned actions. Her inner compass became more important than external validation. The alchemical key here is integrity and authenticity. When your pursuit of wealth is rooted in genuine purpose and service, you radiate a different energy. Define your why. Clearly articulate why you desire financial freedom. Is it to have more time for loved ones? To contribute to a specific cause? To create art or knowledge? To experience the world? Your purpose is your shield. Focus on aligned actions. Ensure that your financial decisions and actions reflect your spiritual values. Generosity, ethical business practices, and responsible stewardship are powerful antidotes to the fear of being seen as greedy. Surround yourself with supportive souls. Seek out people who celebrate your growth and understand your journey. This doesn't mean shunning old friends, but it does mean nurturing connections that uplift you. Ultimately, the judgment of others is a reflection of their own internal state, not a definitive judgment of your worth. By living with integrity, you build an inner fortress that external opinions cannot breach. You become free to embrace your financial abundance authentically. Chapter 6. The Fear of Not Being Enough. Inherited Worthlessness. Perhaps the deepest and most insidious fear that hinders financial freedom is the fear of not being enough. This isn't just about not having enough money. It's a profound sense of inherent unworthiness. It's the quiet, nagging voice in the back of your mind that whispers you don't deserve wealth, that you're not smart enough, capable enough, or good enough to handle financial success. This deeply ingrained feeling of worthlessness is a major block to attracting and sustaining abundance. This fear often stems from early life experiences, societal conditioning, or even past failures that have been internalized as definitive judgments of our worth. We may have been taught that love or approval was conditional, or that our value was tied to our achievements. When these conditions aren't met, or when we experience setbacks, the subconscious can conclude, "I am not worthy." This creates a vicious cycle. You might affirm you want wealth, but your core belief is, "I don't deserve it." The universe, which reflects your dominant energetic output, will match that belief. It's like trying to fill a leaky bucket. No matter how much you pour in, it never seems to hold. This is the essence of healing money blocks at their deepest level. I remember a client, Elena, who was a gifted therapist. She had all the tools to build a thriving practice, but she kept her fees incredibly low and struggled to attract a full client roster. When we explored her beliefs, she discovered a core conviction that charging significant amounts for her services was somehow wrong or greedy. This belief was tied to an experience in her childhood where her parents had to struggle immensely to afford therapy for her younger sibling. Her subconscious had internalized that making money easily was at the expense of others' suffering. She felt unworthy of a prosperous life because it seemed to contradict her deep-seated empathy. The alchemical key here is embodying your true worth. Your worth is not dependent on your achievements, your income, or the approval of others. It is an inherent quality of your being. Recognizing this is the ultimate act of spiritual finance. Identify your worthiness. Beliefs. Gently probe the messages you received about your value. Were you made to feel like you had to earn love or acceptance? Did you ever feel less than? Practice self-compassion. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer a dear friend. Acknowledge any past hurts or perceived failures without judgment. Affirm your inherent worth. Start each day by affirming, I am inherently worthy. My worth is not tied to my income or achievements. I'm deserving of abundance. Say it with conviction, even if you don't fully feel it at first. Celebrate small wins. Acknowledge and celebrate every step forward, no matter how small. This reinforces the subconscious belief that you are capable and deserving of success. This is not about ego. It's about aligning your inner reality with the truth of your being. When you genuinely believe you are worthy of abundance, you naturally begin to attract it. You stop blocking the flow, and the financial abundance you desire can pour in. Chapter 7. The Fear of Losing Control. The Illusion of Certainty. We often associate financial freedom with having complete control. Control over our time, our resources, our future. But what happens when we realize that true freedom might actually involve letting go of the illusion of absolute control? This paradox can itself become a source of fear. The universe operates on principles of flow, synchronicity, and evolution, which are not always predictable or quantifiable. When we cling too tightly to the idea of total control, we resist these natural dynamics. We become rigid, anxious, and less open to the unexpected opportunities that arise. This is a significant hurdle in quantum finance and manifestation. Think about it. Can you truly control the stock market? Can you dictate when a business opportunity will appear? Can you command perfect health or relationships? While we can influence and prepare, ultimate control is an illusion. The more we grasp for it, the more we tighten our grip, paradoxically limiting our potential. This fear can manifest as obsessive planning and micromanagement, constantly trying to predict every possible outcome and control every variable. Anxiety around uncertainty, feeling deeply uncomfortable when things don't go exactly as planned. Resistance to intuitive guidance, dismissing gut feelings or synchronicities because they don't fit a logical, controlled plan. I worked with a very successful executive, David, who had built his career on meticulous planning and risk aversion. He wanted to transition into a more spiritually aligned business venture, but he was paralyzed by the fear of losing control. His existing business was his fortress of certainty. The new venture felt like stepping into the void. He spent months trying to create a foolproof plan, but kept encountering unforeseen obstacles. He was so focused on controlling the outcome that he missed the subtle guidance the universe was offering through these challenges. We explored the concept of surrender to the flow. This isn't about inaction or passivity. It's about taking inspired action, then trusting the unfolding process. It's about partnering with the universe, rather than trying to dictate its every move. Embrace imperfection. Understand that not everything will go according to plan, and that's perfectly okay. Often, the detours lead to unexpected treasures. Cultivate trust. Develop trust in your intuition and in the natural intelligence of the universe. Listen for synchronicities, subtle nudges, and intuitive insights. These are the universe's breadcrumbs guiding you. Focus on process, not just outcome. While a vision is important, also find joy and satisfaction in the process of creating and evolving. The journey itself is a form of abundance. Practice mindfulness. Regular mindfulness practice helps to ground you in the present moment, reducing anxiety about the future and fostering a sense of calm amidst uncertainty. Releasing the fear of losing control doesn't mean giving up on your goals. It means releasing the desperate need to orchestrate every single moment. It's about flowing with the currents of life, guided by your inner wisdom and trust in the process. This is how you unlock a deeper, more resilient form of financial freedom. Chapter 8. The Fear of Judgment from Within. Self-sabotage beyond the fear of external judgment. There lies a more profound and often more damaging fear, the fear of judgment from within. This is the self-sabotage born from our own internal critic, the part of us that judges our past mistakes, our perceived shortcomings, and our very desire for abundance. It's a subtle form of punishment, keeping us tethered to familiar patterns, even if they are limiting. This internal critic can sound like, "You messed up last time? Why try again? You're not disciplined enough for this. You don't really deserve this success. It was just luck." These self-recriminating thoughts create a subconscious ceiling on our potential. We might have all the external strategies for wealth manifestation, but if our inner dialogue is one of self-condemnation, we will inevitably undermine our own efforts. This is particularly poignant for those who feel a conflict between their spiritual journey and their desire for financial prosperity. The inner critic might amplify any guilt or doubt associated with wanting more money, framing it as a spiritual failing. I worked with a woman, Maria, who was on the verge of launching a highly successful online course. She had poured her heart and soul into it, and the feedback from her beta testers was overwhelmingly positive. Yet in the week leading up to the launch, she became consumed by anxiety. She started picking apart her course content, focusing on minor imperfections. She'd berate herself for not having a more polished website or for not being a better marketer. This intense self-criticism was her inner judge, whispering that she wasn't good enough, that she didn't deserve this success. Her subconscious was trying to protect her from the perceived judgment of failure, but it was doing so by creating failure through self-sabotage. The fear of internal judgment was more powerful than the fear of external critique. The alchemical key here is self-forgiveness and inner dialogue transformation. We must learn to quiet the inner critic and cultivate a compassionate, supportive inner voice. Recognize the critic. Become aware of when your inner judge is speaking. Is it a constant stream of negativity? Does it focus on past mistakes? Challenge the critic. Ask yourself, is this thought true? Is it helpful? Is it serving me? Often the critic's pronouncements are distortions or exaggerations. Practice self-forgiveness. Forgive yourself for past mistakes, perceived failures, or moments of doubt. Understand that these were learning experiences, not condemnations of your worth. Use affirmations like, "I forgive myself for past perceived mistakes. I'm learning and growing." Cultivate an inner ally. Imagine a wise, compassionate friend or mentor within you. What would they say to you when you're struggling? Practice speaking to yourself in that kind, encouraging tone. This is where wealth affirmations can be powerfully reframed, not just to attract external wealth, but to build internal self-worth. When you can move from self-judgment to self-compassion, you create a powerful internal environment for abundance consciousness. You stop being your own worst enemy and become your greatest supporter. This is the foundation for sustainable financial freedom. Chapter 9. The Fear of Abundance Itself. The uncomfortable expansion. This might sound paradoxical, but for some, the deepest fear is not of scarcity but of abundance itself. The prospect of significant wealth and freedom can be so radically different from their lived experience that it triggers an unconscious fear of the unknown. A fear of the expansion that abundance demands. Imagine a plant that has always grown in a small pot. It has adapted to those confines. Now imagine transplanting it into a vast, fertile garden. While the potential for growth is immense, the plant might initially feel disoriented, its roots unaccustomed to so much space. This is akin to our subconscious reaction to sudden or significant abundance. This fear can manifest as feeling overwhelmed by opportunities. Too many doors opening at once can feel paralyzing, discomfort with positive attention. Drawing attention through wealth can feel uncomfortable if your core identity is one of low self-worth or an aversion to being seen. An unconscious drive to return to normal. A subtle push to revert to more familiar, less abundant circumstances. I recall a client, James, who had successfully manifested a significant business windfall. Overnight, his financial reality changed dramatically. He found himself restless, anxious, and unable to enjoy his newfound wealth. He'd wake up in a cold sweat, feeling an inexplicable dread. He realized that the life he had built was one of constant struggle and striving. Abundance felt alien. It wasn't just about having money. It was about the identity shift that came with it. He had to learn to inhabit the identity of a prosperous, financially free individual, and that felt terrifyingly unfamiliar. The alchemical key here is gradual expansion and identity integration. Abundance is not just about external circumstances. It's about internal transformation. Embrace abundance incrementally. If you're experiencing a significant shift, allow yourself to adjust gradually. Don't try to implement every grand idea at once. Focus on embodiment. Practice feeling what financial freedom feels like, not just thinking about it. What would you do? How would you spend your time? How would you feel? Start embodying these aspects in small ways now. Reframe your identity. If your identity is tied to struggle, consciously begin to weave in aspects of abundance. Start seeing yourself as someone who can manage resources, contribute generously, and live expansively. This is the essence of reprogramming the subconscious mind for money. Seek wise mentorship. If you're experiencing overwhelming abundance, connect with people who embody the financial freedom and grace you aspire to. Learn from their journey. Abundance is not a foreign country. It is your birthright. By allowing yourself to expand into it gradually, and by consciously integrating this new reality into your identity, you can overcome the fear of abundance itself. You can learn to inhabit your prosperous self with grace and confidence. Chapter 10. The Alchemist's Breath. Grounding in presence. Amidst these explorations of fear, it is crucial to anchor ourselves in the present moment. Many fears are future-oriented, conjuring up worst-case scenarios that may never materialize. The most powerful tool we have to transcend fear and access our innate abundance is the breath and the practice of being fully present. This is not merely a relaxation technique. It is an alchemical act of grounding. When we are fully present, we are not caught in the past or projecting into an anxious future. We are here now where true power resides. From this grounded state, we can more effectively observe our fears without being consumed by them, and we can better discern inspired action versus anxious reaction. Let's practice this now. Pause for a few moments of gentle, ambient music to begin. Find a comfortable position. Allow your body to settle. Gently close your eyes or soften your gaze. Begin to notice your breath. Not to change it, simply to observe it. Feel the gentle rise and fall of your chest or abdomen. Feel the air as it enters your nostrils and as it leaves. With each inhale, imagine you are drawing in the calm, stable energy of the earth. Feel yourself becoming more grounded, more centered. With each exhale, imagine you are releasing any tension, any fear, any tightness you are holding on to. Let it go with the breath. Now bring your awareness to the sensation of your breath. If your mind wanders to thoughts of fear or anxiety, that's perfectly normal. Gently acknowledge the thought, and then guide your attention back to the simple, steady rhythm of your breath. Your breath is always here, a constant anchor in the present moment. Notice the feeling of your body, supported by the surface beneath you. Feel the contact points. This is your anchor to the present. Financial freedom is not a distant destination to be reached through relentless struggle. It is a state of being that can be cultivated moment by moment, breath by breath. By anchoring yourself in the present, you create the inner space for abundance to flow. You create a fertile ground for your desires to manifest. This practice of grounding through the breath is a foundational sacred money mindset practice. It allows you to observe your fears from a place of calm detachment rather than being swept away by them. From this centered place, you can then choose your actions consciously rather than react out of fear. Chapter 11. The Alchemist's Vision. Visualizing true freedom, having grounded ourselves in the present and acknowledged the fears that can arise, we now move to an alchemical technique of potent creation, visualization. This is not mere daydreaming. It is the conscious projection of our desired reality infused with emotion and belief, which then begins to magnetize that reality into our lives. Your subconscious mind money patterns are often built on past experiences and ingrained beliefs. Visualization is a powerful way to overwrite these patterns with new, empowering imagery and feelings. The more vivid and emotionally charged your visualization, the more potent its effect on your wealth manifestation. Let's engage in a visualization exercise designed to help you embrace financial freedom with confidence and joy. Pause for gentle, ambient music to begin. Find that comfortable, grounded posture again. Breathe deeply, feeling yourself present and centered. Now I want you to begin imagining yourself in a place of complete financial freedom. Where are you? What does it look like? Is it a peaceful home filled with light? A vibrant city overlooking a bustling metropolis? A serene natural landscape? Allow the scene to form in your mind's eye. What are you doing in this space of financial freedom? Perhaps you're enjoying a leisurely morning, reading a book without concern for the clock. Maybe you're engaging in a passion project you've always dreamed of, free from financial pressure. Perhaps you're planning a trip to a place you've always wanted to visit, or supporting a cause that is close to your heart. Now, I want you to focus on the feeling of this financial freedom. What does it feel like in your body? Is it a sense of lightness, of peace, of deep relief, of expansive joy? Allow these feelings to flood your being. This emotional resonance is the key to magnetizing your desires. Picture yourself making a financial decision in this state of freedom. Perhaps it's investing in something that aligns with your soul's purpose, or simply choosing a meal at a restaurant without checking the price. Notice how calm, confident, and joyful you feel in making this choice. There is no fear, no guilt, only a quiet certainty. See yourself interacting with others in this space of abundance. Perhaps you're generously supporting a loved one or contributing to a community project. Notice the positive impact you are having and the feeling of fulfillment that comes with it. This demonstrates that financial freedom can indeed be a powerful force for good. Hold this vision and these feelings for as long as you can. Know that this reality is not only possible, but it is your birthright. You are alchemizing your beliefs, transforming fear into the fuel for your desires. Pause as music swells slightly, then fades back. This visualization is not a one-time event. It is a practice. The more you engage in it, the more you reinforce these empowering images and feelings within your subconscious, creating a powerful resonance for attracting wealth. You are actively building the foundation for financial abundance by first creating it within your inner world. Chapter 12. The Power of Aligned Action. Beyond the hustle trap, many believe that attracting wealth requires relentless hustle and constant effort. While action is undoubtedly necessary, the alchemical approach emphasizes aligned action, actions that are inspired, purposeful, and energetically in sync with your desires. This is distinct from the frantic, fear-driven activity of the hustle culture. Fear often drives us to act out of desperation. We push, we strive, we chase, and we worry constantly about the outcome. This energetic state actually repels abundance. Aligned action, on the other hand, springs from a place of inner knowing, trust, and a clear vision. It feels expansive, not draining. Consider the difference between trying to force a plant to grow by yanking its stem versus providing it with sunlight, water, and fertile soil. The latter approach, focused on nurturing conditions, leads to natural, vibrant growth. Similarly, aligned action creates the fertile ground for wealth manifestation. This is where inspired action versus hustle mindset becomes critical. The hustle mindset is driven by fear of not enough. If I stop, I'll lose everything. External validation. I need to be constantly busy to prove my worth. Focus on effort over effectiveness, believing that sheer volume of activity guarantees results. Aligned action, however, is guided by inner intuition, listening to your gut feelings and subtle nudges. Trust in the process, believing that opportunities will arise when the timing is right. Focus on high-impact activities, engaging in actions that move you closer to your vision with energy and ease. I've witnessed this firsthand. A client, David, was working tirelessly to grow his online coaching business. He'd spend hours creating content, networking relentlessly, and trying every marketing tactic he could find. Yet his progress was slow and exhausting. He felt like he was constantly pushing a boulder uphill. One day, he received a clear, intuitive nudge to take a week-long retreat focused on mindfulness and spiritual reflection. His first instinct was panic. I can't afford to stop working. This is the worst possible time. His fear of losing control was immense. But something within him urged him to trust this inner call. During the retreat, away from the constant grind, he had a profound insight. His business strategy was too focused on selling and not enough on serving. He realized he needed to shift his messaging to emphasize the deep transformation his coaching offered, rather than just the features. When he returned, he didn't work harder. He worked smarter. He shifted his content strategy to reflect this deeper purpose. The result? His business began to grow organically, with less effort and more joy. He had taken inspired action, and it had yielded far greater results than his previous relentless hustle. The alchemical key is listen and act with grace. Cultivate stillness. Create regular moments of stillness in your day to listen to your intuition. This could be through meditation, journaling, or simply quiet reflection. Discern inspiration. When an idea or a nudge arises, ask yourself, does this feel expansive and energizing or draining and fearful? Choose actions that feel aligned. Focus on impact. Identify the actions that will have the most significant impact on your goals and prioritize those. It's about quality of action, not just quantity. Trust the timing. Be patient and trust that the right opportunities will unfold when you are in energetic alignment. By embracing aligned action, you move from a place of fear and struggle to one of trust and flow. You become an active participant in the alchemical process, co-creating your financial freedom with the universe. Chapter 13. The Alchemist's Treasury. Practical steps for prosperity. While our focus today has been on releasing fears and transforming inner states, it's crucial to remember that spiritual finance is a dynamic interplay between the inner and outer worlds. Alchemizing fear into freedom requires not only inner work, but also practical, grounded actions that support your journey towards financial abundance. This is where the Alchemist's Treasury comes into play, the practical strategies that, when infused with your transformed mindset, can accelerate your path to prosperity. The goal here is not to chase money, but to create an environment where it naturally flows towards you, and where you can steward it wisely. Let's explore some foundational practical keys: mindful budgeting and financial tracking. This is not about restriction, but about awareness. Understanding where your money goes is the first step to directing it consciously. View this as mapping your energetic flow. When you track your spending, you can identify areas where fear-based spending might be occurring, or where resources could be reallocated towards aligned goals. This practice grounds your wealth manifestation efforts in tangible reality, conscious spending and saving. Every dollar you spend is a statement of your values. Before making a purchase, ask yourself, does this align with my highest intentions? Does it bring me joy or serve a greater purpose? Similarly, conscious saving is not about hoarding, but about strategically allocating resources for future growth and security. This builds trust in your ability to steward financial freedom, creating multiple income streams. Relying on a single source of income can create energetic vulnerability and fear. Exploring additional avenues for income aligned with your passions and skills creates resilience and expands your capacity for receiving. This is about diversifying your energetic and financial output. Investing with spiritual insight. As mentioned earlier, spiritual investing involves more than just financial returns. It's about aligning your capital with your values. Research companies and projects that contribute positively to the world or that resonate with your spiritual principles. This infuses your investments with a higher purpose, enhancing the energetic return. Generosity as an amplifier. Paradoxically, practicing generosity, giving your time, resources, or skills can be one of the most powerful ways to attract more abundance. When you give from a place of genuine abundance and love, you signal to the universe that you have plenty to share, thereby creating more inflow. This is a core principle of prosperity consciousness. I recall a friend, Sarah, who was an exceptional graphic designer. She had a deep fear of asking for her true worth, leading her to undercharge for her services for years. She was operating from a scarcity mindset, fearing that higher prices would scare clients away. After our work on releasing her fears of judgment and unworthiness, she decided to implement a new pricing structure. It wasn't a drastic leap, but a confident phased increase. She paired this with a commitment to donate a percentage of her earnings to a local animal shelter she deeply cared about. The result? Not only did her income increase significantly, but her clients became more committed, recognizing the value she offered. Her generosity also brought her immense fulfillment. This is the alchemical power of integrating practical action with a transformed inner state. The alchemist's treasury is not about acquiring more things. It is about developing a conscious, empowered relationship with money and resources, allowing them to flow through you as a force for good. These practical steps, when infused with the wisdom and peace cultivated through releasing fear, become powerful tools for building lasting financial abundance. Conclusion: becoming the alchemist of your own fortune. As we draw this alchemical journey to a close, I want to reiterate a fundamental truth. You are not merely seeking financial freedom. You are becoming the architect and alchemist of your own fortune. The fears we have explored of change, responsibility, judgment, inadequacy, and even abundance itself are not insurmountable obstacles. They are simply states of consciousness that can be transformed. The keys we have unlocked together today: awareness of inherited scarcity, perception of present abundance, embracing the transition, reframing responsibility as opportunity, living with integrity, embodying your true worth, surrendering to the flow, transforming inner dialogue, embracing gradual expansion, and grounding in presence through aligned action. These are not just concepts. They are the active ingredients for your transformation. Remember, abundance is not something you acquire. It is something you become. It is a state of being that radiates from within, drawing to you the circumstances, resources, and experiences that match your inner vibration. Your relationship with money is a mirror of your relationship with yourself and with the universe. As you move forward, I encourage you to continue practicing these alchemical principles. Allow the visualizations and meditations to become a consistent part of your practice. Listen to the wisdom of your intuition and take inspired action with courage and grace. Your journey is unique, and your path to prosperity will unfold in its own beautiful way. Trust the process. Trust yourself. The greatest alchemy you can perform is the transformation of your own consciousness. May you embrace your financial freedom with a full heart, a clear mind, and an abundant spirit. This is Elias Vance reminding you, the greatest wealth you will ever own is the knowledge of who you truly are.